Welcome to our YouTube channel. In today's video, we'll be taking a look at some of the worst contracts currently in the NFL. While every player aims to secure the biggest and most lucrative contracts possible, some deals don't always work out in the team's favor. From underperforming players to those who have failed to live up to expectations, these contracts have proven to be a burden for their respective teams. So, whether you're a die-hard football fan or just curious about the business side of the sport, this video is for you. So, without further ado, let's dive into the world of the worst contracts in the NFL today. Main part: Christian Kirk, 4 years, $72 million. Christian Kirk's contract with the Jacksonville Jaguars may have inadvertently sparked a wave of high-profile wide receivers renegotiating their contracts for better deals. Following Kirk's contract, players like Devon Adams and Tyreek Hill secured massive deals after reassessing their own contract situations. It's not difficult to understand why. While Kirk is undoubtedly a skilled wide receiver, he has never been more than a secondary option and has yet to achieve a 1,000-yard season. Despite this, he remains one of the highest-paid wide receivers in the league. Dee Ford, 5 years, $85.5 million. In 2019, the San Francisco 49ers signed Dee Ford to a substantial contract, and it was understandable considering his performance the previous year, where he emerged as one of the league's top pass rushers. This performance was in line with the potential he had shown when drafted in the first round back in 2014. Unfortunately, Ford has failed to live up to the expectations that came with his contract. While his first year was decent, he has only played 7 games for the 49ers in the past 2 seasons. Frank Clark, 5 years, $105.5 million. Interestingly, Frank Clark replaced Dee Ford in Kansas City and also received one of the most inflated contracts in the NFL. Although he has been on the field more consistently than his predecessor, he has still failed to live up to the hype over the past 2 seasons. Clark made a significant impact in his first year with the Chiefs as the defensive leader, helping lead the team to the Super Bowl. However, his performance in the last 2 seasons has been less impressive. Although the Chiefs renegotiated his contract earlier this year, he remains one of the most overpaid players in the league. Jared Goff, 4 years, $134 million. Fortunately, Jared Goff's overpriced contract is set to expire soon. The contract was awarded to him after leading the Los Angeles Rams to the Super Bowl in 2019. However, since signing the deal, Goff's performance has significantly declined, leading to his departure from California to the Detroit Lions. Goff has gone from being one of the top quarterbacks in the league to just being an average player. While it's acceptable to be an average player, it's not ideal to be one that earns as much as he does. Taysom Hill, 4 years, $40 million. Following Drew Brees' retirement from the New Orleans Saints last year, Taysom Hill signed a 4-year, $40 million deal. Hill is known for being a versatile player who can be utilized in various positions on the field. However, he hasn't excelled in any of them to date. Despite Sean Payton utilizing Hill extensively, the deal was considered a poor decision even with the former Super Bowl-winning coach at the helm. With Payton's departure, it is unclear how much the gadget player will be used in the future. Kenny Golladay, 4 years, $72 million. Kenny Galladay's contract is a peculiar one. Although he showed flashes of stardom during his tenure with the Detroit Lions, he wasn't consistent enough as a primary option to be regarded as an all-pro caliber player. Despite this, he received a substantial contract from the New York Giants in 2021. Unfortunately, the deal has already backfired after just 1 year. Golladay underperformed and appeared disinterested for much of his first season with the Giants. Ezekiel Elliott, 6 years, $90 million. At just 26 years old, Ezekiel Elliott has already begun to show signs of slowing down. This was somewhat anticipated, given the heavy workload he carried during the early years of his career. However, despite these concerns, Elliott received a significant contract from the Dallas Cowboys in 2019. Since signing the contract, Elliott has not lived up to expectations. While he remains a decent player, he has already begun to decline, and this trend is likely to continue in the future. Michael Thomas, 5 years, $96.25 million. After his historic 2019 season, Michael Thomas received a massive contract from the New Orleans Saints, which would be hard to fault at the time. Thomas appeared to be in his prime and was still improving when he signed the 5-year, $96.25 million deal. However, Thomas has failed to live up to his contract due to his limited on-field presence. Since signing the contract, the former All-Pro has played in just 7 games over the past 2 seasons with the Saints. Christian McCaffrey, 4 years, $64 million. In 2020, Christian McCaffrey signed a massive extension with the Carolina Panthers. He got over $60 million for his efforts not only as a runner, but as a receiver. The issue with that is that in order to live up to that contract, he'd have to play all the time in both roles. When he's on the field, he's lived up to that deal. However, with him being the Panthers' #1 catcher and runner, he's taken a lot of punishment and missed the majority of the last 2 seasons. With McCaffrey getting older and starting to have injury issues, this deal is going to look even worse soon. Deshaun Watson, 5 years, $230 million. At the time of Deshaun Watson's signing with the Cleveland Browns for an all-guaranteed $230 million. Over 5 seasons, it appeared to be a questionable decision. Despite not having played in a season and facing accusations of sexual assault by over 20 women, he received a significant deal. This decision was widely criticized, except by the Cleveland Browns. Now, Watson has been accused of even more misconduct and is reportedly facing a potential year-long suspension or more. Even without the significant legal issues and time away from the game, Watson is arguably not worth the high-priced tag.